Federalist Paper 2, Part 3, this country and this people seem to have been made for each other. And it appears as if it was the design of Providence that an inheritance so proper and convenient for a band of brethren, united to each other by the strongest ties, should never be split into a number of unsocial, jealous, and alien sovereignties. Similar sentiments have hitherto prevailed among all orders and denominations of men among us. To all general purposes, we have uniformly been one people, each individual citizen everywhere enjoying the same national rights, privileges, and protection. As a nation, we have made peace and war. As a nation, we have vanquished our common enemies. As a nation, we have formed alliances and made treaties and entered into various compacts and conversations with foreign states. A strong sense of the value and blessings of union induced the people at a very early period to institute a federal government to preserve and perpetuate it. They formed it almost as soon as they had a political existence. Nay, at a time when their habitations were in flames, when many of their citizens were bleeding, and when the progress of hostility and desolation left little room for those calm and mature inquiries and reflections which must ever precede the formation of a wise and well-balanced government for a free people. It is not to be wondered at that a government instituted in times so inauspicious should on experiment be found greatly deficient and inadequate to the purpose it was intended to answer. Notice here when he talks about the government that they formed, the federal government, he is talking about the Confederation, their first constitution. He says we were in the middle of the war, we did our best, we formed the Confederation, but obviously because it was in the middle of war, we were in a hurry, we were in a rush, so it has turned out not to be real good. And that's why we're offering this new constitution to you. This intelligent people perceived and regretted these defects, still continuing no less attached to union than enamored of liberty. They observed the danger which immediately threatened the former and more remotely the latter, and being persuaded that ample security for both could only be found in a national government more wisely framed, they, as with one voice, convened the late convention at Philadelphia to take that important subject under consideration. They found out that their first constitution was faulty, had defects, so they got together in Philadelphia in the Constitutional Convention and produced this Constitution. This convention, composed of men who possessed the confidence of the people and many of whom had become highly distinguished by their patriotism, virtue, and wisdom in times which tried the minds and hearts of men, undertook the arduous task. In the mild season of peace, with minds unoccupied by other subjects, they passed many months in cool, uninterrupted and daily consultation. And finally, without having been awed by power or influenced by any passions except love for their country, they presented and recommended to the people the plan produced by their joint and very unanimous councils. When he says months in cool, uninterrupted, he's saying cool-tempered, patient, uninterrupted. Because we know that Philadelphia in the summer of 1787 was hot. So it wasn't cool. But he's talking about the very cool, very wisely sitting down and deliberating, thinking deeply. So they were not in a rush. They were wisely putting the system together. So notice he does say that our first Constitution was okay. It was good during the time of war. But now that we are in peace, now all the states are not getting along. They are disagreeing about certain things. And we will talk some more here in a minute.